right, here we go. It is 10 a.m. and I said that we're going to start on time and end on time. So this is going to be really good for me. I said that I was the #1 student for 6 personal perspectives. And so I'm going to write 6PP up here because #1 is going to be about mastery. #2, which we're covering today, is going to be about the Pareto principle. Laura, you're the star pupil, so I'm going to be calling on you a lot today. Yeah, I am. 6 personal perspectives is the foundational perspectives to propel you to the highest level of achievement. We do have some housekeeping to get through. I can simplify all of it by saying don't call anyone that's on the do not call list. So if they're on the do not call list, don't call them. If you need to know, our office oftentimes updates the DNC list. And so if you need an updated copy, you can get it from Lacey at the front desk. What is it that differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish as much? Mastery. Laura says, don't ask me. It is mastery of self. Self-mastery is the #1 differentiator. If you can control your time, if you can control your emotions, if you can control your willpower, you can accomplish so much more than the ones who don't. People who don't master their time struggle the most. And that's one thing for me that I struggle with a lot. It feels good for me to not live according to my schedule. It feels good to wake up in the morning and go, what am I going to do today? It depends on the weather. If the weather's nice, I might want to do something outside. If it's rainy, I might want to work in the office. But doing what the wind blows me towards isn't the best way to achieve success. So what's the biggest differentiator? It's going to be self-mastery. So here we go. Defining the 6 personal perspectives. We're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about our attitude and combining those together to have a whole approach to life. So think about mindset, positive mindset versus negative mindset. If you have a negative mindset, those are the colored glasses that you're wearing. So everything comes across with a negative bend to it. If you have a bad attitude in the beginning of the day and you don't get out of it, things just kind of snowball and they get worse and worse and worse. And I'm not talking about blowing smoke and having false positive, because I've been accused of that. I've been accused of being overly positive. Do I have bad days? Yes, all the time I have bad days. But I make the personal choice not to stay in the negative. So whatever's happening, can I put it through a positive bend? Yes, I can. Do I want bad things to happen to me? No, of course not. And yet when they do, can I learn a lesson from them? Almost always. Almost always. Can I turn them into a positive? Yes. Not how should I have known or could I have known? What can I do with what happens to me? And that's the biggest thing. Attitude and mindset are almost this vicious cycle that keep chasing each other, because whatever my attitude is going to determine my mindset. And whatever my mindset is going to determine my attitude. So we all know those people that get caught up in the negative loop. They just keep thinking negative. They're the negative Nellies or the negative Nancys. Sorry, Nancy, if anybody's name is Nancy. The negative Nellies that are out there, it's like you almost don't want to be them. They're an energy suck. Versus the people that have a positive mindset and positive attitude. Well, what happens to life? Life is enjoyable for them. Life is good for them. So you've heard like, I could sell ice to an Eskimo, or you've heard somebody say like, oh, that person could sell ice to an Eskimo. Why does an Eskimo need ice? They don't. But the person's attitude is just so positive. They know their product so well that people want to buy from them. I have to share this story that it's funny, like my kids bring it up a lot. One time we went to the movie theater. It was AMC 20 in Independence, if anyone cares. We went to AMC 20. The person that was working the ticket counter, this was like really kind of before you just bought everything online and just used your QR code on your phone. But what happened was I went to the ticket counter and the person could care less that I was there. They could care even less that I was buying a movie ticket. They had a terrible attitude and it just caught me wrong that day. It was just like, I just had enough. And I was just like, if you don't like your job, you should quit because you're ruining this experience for everyone else. And that person was shocked. And of course, my family was totally embarrassed and didn't want to be with me. But I thought like, man, don't ruin the experience for everyone else just because you have a negative attitude. Like, this is going to be a fun experience. We were seeing a blockbuster movie. We were going to get popcorn and drinks. And so I try, and I don't always succeed. I try to have my attitude be positive because it's going to feed back into the type of mindset that I have. And thus goes my approach to life. If you're in negative mindset and negative attitude all the time, you're going to have a negative bend on approach to life. You're going to always be looking for what could go wrong, what's going to go wrong. And if that's what you're looking for, guess what you're going to find? The things that go wrong. If you have a positive attitude and a positive mindset and you're looking for abundance and you're looking for good, guess what you find? All the good stuff that happens. So this is defining the 6 personal perspectives. When we pull all of them together, it's going to create this funnel, this vortex of energy in our life. And I know some people are like, oh, this is just like mumbo jumbo. It's not actual tangible things. Listen, our mind is so powerful that we can create things around us based on our perspective of life. And when we take these 6 personal perspectives and we apply them to everything in our life, then what shows up is a positive approach to life that comes with positive results. Okay, so here we go. Today is step 1 and step 2. Commit to self-mastery. We have to make a commitment to master ourselves. It doesn't just happen by accident, such as, I'm going to nail it. I'm going to master this. Well, I don't know I can't remember what the statistic is, but what is it to actually become the master of something? How many hours do you have to practice it? The number that I always heard was 10,000. 10,000 hours of doing something is what it takes to master it. Well, it doesn't matter what it is. It might be mowing your lawn, which sounds like the most menial task. Yet if you spend 10,000 hours doing it, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't. What happens when you mow your lawn too short? It looks really good the day you mow it. And then 3 days later, all the weeds are growing faster than the grass and they start crowding out the grass. So if you go to Toby Tobin's website, what does he say? Mow high and mow often. You're going to learn real quickly that the higher you mow your yard, the more it crowds out the weeds and the thicker your grass grows. And it's amazing. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be selling real estate. But I said up front, this is not just about selling real estate. It's a mindset for life. So whatever it is, we have to make a conscious commitment that we're going to master it. I'm going to crush this. I'm going to do this. Nobody's going to stop me. So think about, take 2 seconds. 2 seconds, take a pause real quick. What's one thing that you love so much that nobody could stop you from doing it? Alex just walked into the classroom. Alex is going to go to some soccer games. There is nothing that it doesn't matter. I think I remember when Alex didn't even have any money and he was buying season tickets. He's a season ticket holder. The dude didn't even have any money, but he's buying Why? Because it was it was important to him. Yes? Yeah. It was important to him. And so he made it happen. No matter what, he's going to do it. Well, what if that was our attitude towards everything that was important to us, which is actually going to take us right into the 80-20 principle, because of the 100% of things that we do, only 20% of them actually matter. 80% of the things that we do don't actually advance us or move us any further towards our goal. We spend a lot of time, I say we because I do this, I spend a lot of time doing things that in the end don't actually matter. They don't move the needle forward towards my goal at all. But the things that do matter to me, you guys know, we use this analogy all the time. What happens the week before you go on vacation? The week before, you know you're going to be out all next week. So you jam and you hustle really hard to get everything done so that when you're on vacation, you can actually enjoy it. How much more effective and impactful are you in that week prior to vacation than all the other weeks? Why? Because I'm so committed to enjoying my vacation. I want to get everything off of my plate so that I can actually zone out and relax a little bit. And I know people are like, we'll do that every week. And then you're like, because I don't want to work that hard every week. That's okay too. My point is the level of focus. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this 10-item to-do list knocked out, and nobody's going to distract me from it. Nothing was going to distract Alex from getting his season tickets. Just like when it's a really nice day, today's golf league. It doesn't matter what pops up for me today. I'm going to be at golf league at 4 o'clock because that's important to me. It matters. It's something that I'm going to make happen. Well, what if a buyer wants to go look at a house? I'm going to reach out to another agent and I'm going to pay him a showing fee and I'm going to have them go show the house for me. Or what happens if my dog gets hit by a car and they have to go to the veterinarian's office? Well, I'm probably going to skip golf league and I'm going to go take care of my dog, right? Why? Because that takes precedence. That takes my focus. That's something that's important to me. But if we did that with the things that truly mattered, now we're focused in on the 20%, which is the Pareto principle. Commit to the 80-20 principle. I'm going to focus on my big rocks. You guys have seen that video. I forget the professor's name, but he takes this big glass jar. You guys have probably all seen this a bunch of different ways. And he puts all of these this sand. He pours all this sand into one of the jars. And then he's like, what do you guys think? Is it full or not full? And they're like, yes. And they're like, how important is the sand versus the big rocks? And they're like, it's not as important. It's all these like tiny little things that suck your time. And then he takes the big rocks, and the big rocks won't fit in the jar because the sand, all the little things take up so much. So he takes another jar and he puts it next to it, and he puts all the big rocks in it. Then he takes the sand and pours the sand in, and the sand fills in all the crevices between the big rocks. And guess what? All the sand still fit too. But when they did the sand first, there wasn't enough room for the big rocks. You take care of the big rocks, all the other stuff fits in. How does that play into this? Because if I do the 20% that actually moves the needle forward for me, then I still have time to accomplish all of the other 80% of things that need to get done, but don't move me any closer to my goal. That's the 80-20 principle. It also works for our finances. It works for almost everything. Those of you guys that like volunteer somewhere, like it doesn't matter if you're just volunteering at church or scouts or a team somewhere, like who does 80% of the work? 20% of the people. Where does 80% of the funds come from? 20% of the people, right? Like where do 80% of our results come from? 20% of our effort. 20% of our effort. Every time I get slow in business, I go crazy doing lead gen. It takes like 1 week of lead gen, and then I got 5 things I'm working on. Well, what if I just did the lead gen all the time? I'd have 50 things to work on, and I'd have to hire a showing assistant and a listing expert, and I'd have to do all that stuff if I just focused on what my big rocks were. Well, Tim, what happens if I have 40 people that all want to go look at houses on one day? Congratulations, you're crushing this business. You leverage yourself. You find a new agent that doesn't have anything going on their calendar that wants to make a little extra money, and you send them on some showings. That's what you do. And then people go, well, they really want to work with only me. They just want to work with me. No, they don't. They want to work with what you can bring to the table. I mean, I promise you, Tom is an awesome guy, but who's really getting stuff done in their business? We all know it's Carrie. We all do, right? So if I really want stuff to happen, I want Carrie working on it anyway, right? Tom's just the pretty face, but Carrie gets stuff done. The 80-20 principle. And then we're going to go to step 3, which is in a couple weeks, moving from E to P. E stands for what? Entrepreneurial. P stands for purposeful. That's exactly right. Entrepreneurial is the version of me that just wants to cowboy it and shoot from the hip all the time. Well, that's awesome. There's a lot of highly successful, wonderful entrepreneurs out there that are crushing it, But being entrepreneurial can only get you so far because it's relying on me. It's relying on my talent and my skill level when I'm operating in an entrepreneurial venture. Gary Keller has built an incredible business by being incredibly entrepreneurial. He's thinking outside of the box all the time. He's challenging industry standards. He's running and gunning, and he's trying new things all the time. But then guess what he's also exceptionally good at? Once he figures out what works, he systematizes it and goes into purposeful. He creates a system. You guys, we're in 6 personal perspectives right now. Guess what this is? Part of Gary Keller's business system. Because what he figured out was, I know how to sell real estate, I know how to do it at a high level, and I know how to make it the best experience for customers out there. How do I teach that to thousands of agents all across the globe when I'm just one man? Well, here I am. 30 years later, here I am teaching exactly what Gary Keller created 30 years ago. He systematized it. He became very purposeful. The franchise model takes all of these things and teaches them to all of our agents. And guess what? 20 years from now, Keller Williams is still going to be around. I may not be in this market center, and somebody else is going to be teaching the exact same thing because it's part of the plan. So many of us, we got into real estate so that we could be more entrepreneurial and be the boss and be on my own schedule. And yet we're not purposeful. We don't take the entrepreneurial and change it into a purposeful business with a plan and a strategy and a course of action. I am purposeful about breaking through my ceiling of achievement. When I'm purposeful about breaking through my ceiling of achievement, I achieve things that I could never do by myself. It's really difficult. It's incredibly uncomfortable. Those of you guys that are if nobody wants to watch my business, there's nothing to watch. However, if you watched me this year and last year, I brought a business partner in who's good at all the things that I'm not good at. Well, guess what? It's really uncomfortable because I don't want to look at my calendar every day. I want to look outside and see what the weather's like and decide what I want to do based on what the weather's like. And instead, Debbie's going, hey, did you call this person back? Hey, did you respond to this email? Hey, do you know you have a 10:30 this morning? Hey, you know there's an inspector showing up at 2 o'clock. And I'm like, I don't want that. But I do because I want what those results bring. I don't want the accountability because that doesn't feel good. I don't want somebody calling me out when I'm not getting stuff done at the highest level. None of that feels good. What does feel good is the purposeful side of it where the results start showing up. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had a $32,000 month. That wasn't even that hard. Could I do that every month? Yep, sure could. I would be really great with making $387,000. That would be fantastic. And people do it all the time in this business. But it doesn't come from me just like waking up and going, oh, it's nice outside, Joe. I think I'm going to go play golf today. I can do that. I can still get those things done. It can't be the norm. It can't just be, it has to be according to my schedule, according to my calendar. And then we're going to move into make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. Why? Because I don't know everything. Alex doesn't know everything. Laura doesn't know everything. Joe does, but that's why he's not in the class. He already knows everything. I don't know everything. I'm willing to be taught. I always pursue learning. Why? Because the market is always changing. The tactics are always changing. The interest rates are always changing. Governmental regulations always changing. The National Association of Realtors is always changing. There's always something coming up that changes the face of our industry. And if we're not learning about it, we're going to get left in the dust. That's why our office, our brokerage is so engaged and so focused on trainings and learnings so that we don't get stuck. Removing your limiting beliefs is step 5. What happens when we get stuck? Then we're very limited on what we can do. How many of you guys have ever hosted an open house and not one person walked into the open house? Pretty much every agent who's ever hosted an open house, right? What if you only did one open house and that was the one? What's your view on open houses? They stink, right? I'm never wasting my time ever again. Not one person came to that open house. And yet, what if you went to the open house? One of Joanna Rangel's very first open houses. I wish she was here. I love this story. She's hosting an open house. A lady walks into the open house and she's looking around and checking it out. And she goes, I love it. What's it going to take for me to get it? And Joanna's like, what? Like, what do you mean? And the lady's like, I've submitted like 24 offers and I haven't gotten any houses. And I want this one. What's it going to take for me to get it? I don't want to write an offer and not get it. What's it going to take for me to get it? And so I think it was a Chris Bradley listing. Can't really remember. And so Joanna just called her and was like, hey, I've got somebody that literally Joanna sat at an open house and somebody walked in and was like, I'll take it. I want it. What's it going to take for me to get it? And Joanna, at that point in her career, didn't even know how to write an offer. And so she was like, meet me back at the office. So Joanna's like on her way to the office. She's calling somebody to come up and help her write an offer. Like, if that was my first open house, I'd be like, I'm never doing anything but open houses, right? It's all about your experience and what happens. But if my first open house, nobody showed up and I'm like, well, open houses don't work, so I'm not going to do them anymore. What is it? It's a limiting belief. What if I go door knocking and no one ever calls me on my flyers? Well, the door knocking's a waste of time. What if I call my database and everybody's mad and everybody hangs up on me? Well, that's a waste of time. It's all like, we have to remove our limiting beliefs because anything is possible. If you've gone through Bold, which if you haven't, I highly recommend going through Bold. What happens in Bold is there will be a bunch of seasoned agents in there that have been doing real estate for a long time. And there'll be a call time and they'll say like, hey, we're going to start calling our databases and this is what we're going to say. We're going to start texting our databases and this is what we're going to say. And the seasoned agents are like, I don't want to call my database because it doesn't give me anything. And so they go to the bathroom, they go get a drink, they text their mom or their best friend about what happened last night. They don't do it. And then there's a brand new agent that doesn't know any different. And the brand new agent does exactly what the coach says. And guess what? They're like, hey, I just got 2 listings. And one of my friends wants to buy a house. And then the seasoned agent is like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like beginner's luck. Why? Because the seasoned agent had a limiting belief and the beginner was like, I don't know. And so they just did what was prescribed. They didn't have any limitations around it. One of my favorite people in KW, he's a Bold coach and he's one of our educational experts. His name is Cody Gibson. I love Cody Gibson. He talks about when he first became an agent, and you guys, many of you remember when you first became an agent, you walked into the office, you see a guy like Ryan Finn running all over the place and making 100 phone calls and like he's got 4 listing appointments and you're like, I don't even know what to do. Like my phone's not, I don't even have anybody to call. Like, I don't even know what to say. You're just showing up at the office and you don't know what to do. Well, that was Cody Gibson. And so Cody's like, I don't even know what to do. And his broker literally gave him the white pages and was like, you start calling people and you don't leave until you set 3 appointments. And he was like, you do that every day and you're going to be successful. For like the first 6 days in a row, Cody set 3 appointments every day. And so then on his like 7th day of work, he walked into the broker's office and the broker was like, hey, what's up, Cody? What can I do for you? And the broker's like super busy. And Cody's like, I don't know. I don't know if I have to like not be an agent anymore, but I didn't get my 3 appointments today. And the broker was like kind of joking around with him. And he was like, well, tell me you got at least 1. And Cody was like, yeah, I got 1, but I didn't get my 3. And the broker was like, okay, like, what? So what? Like Cody was like, I didn't know if I could still be an agent because I didn't know what would happen if I didn't set my 3 appointments. And the broker was like, oh man, I was just messing with you. Nobody sets 3 appointments a day. And Cody was like, well, I have for the last 6 days. So I just thought like I failed today. In 7 days, he like, I mean, I don't know, however many that, like 3 a day, 6, 18, 19, he set like 19 appointments in 7 days. Why? Because he didn't have a limiting belief. He didn't know that was difficult to do. His broker said, call people until you set 3 appointments. And so that's what he did. When we don't have limiting beliefs, literally anything is possible in this business. It's literally anything is possible. I unlimit my thinking and my success. There's no limits around your success when you don't have any limiting beliefs. I know this because I literally watched Joanna when somebody walked into her open house and was like, I'll take it. I remember teaching Nathan Neff, who's not even an agent anymore, how to do board duty. This old dude who lived in Skyview Estates, right here in Raymore, in Skyview, he calls in and was like, hey, my kids are making me sell the house. I can't live here by myself anymore. I need you to come tell me what it's worth and get it sold for me. Literally stinking Nathan's first day, I'm standing there and he takes the phone call and I'm like, kidding me? This like back then, it was like, I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 years ago. It was probably a $350,000 listing in Skyview. I'm like, this dude doesn't even know how to answer the phone, and he's got a $350,000 listing appointment right here in Rayview. It's in Raymore. Skyview is going to sell. Like, that's a great area to be in. I'm like, are you kidding me? Literally anything is possible. But how many of us have done board duty week in, week out, and you don't get anything from it? And so then all of a sudden you start building and creating these limiting beliefs. Why is it step 5? Because it's one of the hardest things to do. Unlimiting your belief system is one of the hardest things to do. But if we do it, anything is possible. And then the last thing is going to be accountable. It's mine. I own it. Who's responsible for your life? You are. Well, what about whenever I was a kid and this happened? Yep, you were a kid and now you're an adult and now you're responsible for your life. You're responsible for your attitude. You're responsible for the way you respond to the things that happen in your life. Well, you don't know my life, Tim. No. You're responsible. If you're in a bad situation, move it. Change your situation. We're all adults, right? We live literally in the land of abundance. Like, well, I don't have any money. I can't do it. Great. Go make some money. Go sit at some open houses. I don't have a listing. There's plenty of agents around here that have listings that aren't going to be sitting in an open house this weekend. Go door knocking. Tell them about our neighborhood statistics. You don't even have to have a listing. A listing is actually just a crutch to lean on. If you don't have a listing, can you still go door knocking? Yep. I've done this before. I've door knocked a neighborhood that a non-KW agent sold a house in. And all I did was I door knocked around the neighborhood and let them know what the house sold for. That's not like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's free information. They could have looked that up on Zillow. I just door knocked because the statistic shows that within 90 days of a listing selling in a neighborhood, the 100 doors around it, it's highly likely that another house is going to come up for sale. Well, if those people need an agent, I want to be the agent that they call. Did I get anything from that? I don't think so, but that's beside the point. There has been times that I've door knocked and I've literally ended up walking into somebody's house and giving them a CMA and telling them what I thought their house could sell for while I was door knocking. Then because they were highly interested, they went into my pipeline and it took 12, 13 months before they actually sold. But when they did, I sold their house. I did an open house for someone else's listing in a neighborhood in Olathe. And while I was there at that open house, one of the neighbors came in and they were touring around and I kind of had a conversation with them and hit it off with the neighbor. I just stayed in touch with them. And every time a house sold in their neighborhood, I would text it to them and be like, hey, your house is going up in value. Hey, this one sold for $420. Hey, this one. And then now I got their listing and we're under contract right now. And that was somebody that I met a year and a half ago at an open house. And then while I was at their open house, I met a couple that came in. They said they were working with an agent. I was like, hey, no problem at all. I still like helped them and took care of them while they were walking around to the house. They said they had an agent. 3 days later, Debbie got an email from this gal and she said, hey, because we had Debbie sign in the yard. She was like, hey, I was at an open house of a house that you guys have listed and I met a guy there. I think his name was Tim. And we were secretly interviewing for agents and we wanted to use him. Could you give us his number? And it was because they had a weird, unique situation and they were using an agent that her new partner had used with his ex-wife, and she felt awkward and weird about it. And she was like, I just want us to get our own agent that doesn't know either one of us in our past. And so we went and looked at houses with them yesterday, all because of this one open house that I did a year and a half ago. So that unlocked a lot of my limiting beliefs around open houses because I was on this roll of doing like 4 open houses in a row and getting nothing from it. And I did like a 4-level open house where I door knocked before, I door knocked the day of, I handed out flyers, I did the open house, I door knocked afterwards. Like, I feel like I did them at a really high level and didn't get anything. So my belief system on open house, I was getting very frustrated. And then all of a sudden some things unlocked. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I just have to do them consistently week in and week out, or month in and month out. It's mine, I own it. Be accountable. Be accountable, be accountable, be accountable. Whatever you're gonna do, write it down. Tell 3 people. Have somebody hold you accountable to it. Be accountable. That's step 6 of 6 personal perspectives. Okay, questions on any of that so far? Okay, moving on. Here we go. Powerful perspective. How would you change? If you could change, how would you change? What would you do that you're waiting to get done because you think you'll be here forever? I'll do it later. I got plenty of time, Steve. Yeah, like I don't want to get on it right now. I got my hair cut this week because I'm going to do something that required my hair to be cut. So I had to get my hair. How would I change? Walk into Sports Clips and go, listen here, I need my hair trimmed up. Who can do it? How would you change? What would you do differently? If you knew you were on a limited time frame and you had to get all these things accomplished, what would you do? There's a lot of things that I would cut out. I would never watch junk TV ever again because I actually don't enjoy it. It's just, it's something that just like it's actually for me, it distracts me from the fact that I'm not getting something done that I want to get done. If your phone, yeah. I'd probably like unload all social media apps, right? Like it's all junk. Like it doesn't matter what Alex had for dinner last night. I don't need to see Tom flexing his muscles in front of the urinal at Planet Fitness. Like that doesn't do anything for me. He doesn't do that. But I see friends on social media doing that, right? Like flexing and stuff, and like the urinals in the background, and some dude's going to the bathroom. Like, oh gosh, stop. What would you change? It might be where you live. Like we are such a product of environment. Maybe you're not cut out to live in the Midwest. Maybe you've always wanted to live in the Rocky Mountains. Cool, man, change it right now. Like life is so short. What would you change? What 3 things would you like to accomplish in your life? Because we have to know where we're going. What are 3 things you'd like to accomplish in your life? What needs to change right now in order for those to happen? It might mean you have to stop drinking Starbucks. It might. I'm not going to. There's nothing in my life that's that important that I can't grab a coffee at Starbucks. But you know what I'm saying? There's things like that. If you drink 27 Mountain Dews a day, you're probably going to die a short, unhealthy life. So maybe you need to change that, right? Maybe. Maybe you need to get outside and get some fresh air more. Maybe you do need to quit watching 47 hours of TV. Maybe you need to call some people that are in your life that need to hear from you. I don't know what that is for you. Maybe you need to make a to-do list. Some people walk into their house and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to clean my house, but I'm so overwhelmed, I don't even know where to start. Cool, let's make a list. Which one room in your house is the most impactful for you? Like for me, it's my master bedroom. The rest of the house could be an absolute disaster. When I walk into my bedroom, I need the bed to be made. I don't want any clothes on the floor. Like it needs to feel like a sanctuary. That's just me though. Like I need some area in my house to be able to retreat to that when I walk in, it feels good, it smells good, it looks good. Like I need that. It's my own sanity. If I'm going to meet with clients, actually, if I'm going to meet with anybody, I need my car to be clean. It's just a thing for me. It's not for them, it's for me. Like it helps me to feel good when my car is clean. Well, when I feel good, I perform better, right? So what things need to change? Good? Okay. The reality check. Ugh, I hate the reality check. You know what doesn't feel good for me? Doing a reality check. Knowing where I'm at. I love all of the personal net worth stuff that KW has you do, especially like Business Planning Clinic. And like, hey, good or bad, no matter what the number is, it could be a positive number, it could be a negative number, but you need to know where you're at financially. Because financial stress can absolutely kill your business. It can kill your happiness. It can suck the life out of you. doing a reality check, knowing where I'm at right now. All right, what's the goal? It could be business. It could be health. It could be weight. It could be vacation. It could be whatever, education, whatever your goal is. What's the most important thing? What's the most important thing? What's your goal? And then how are you doing with your goal? So in this business, during the business planning clinic, do you guys remember we walked through the numbers? How much money do I need to make this year? Okay, what's our average sale price? And Steve's average sale price might be different than mine. And mine might be different than the market center's average. So we track our numbers because we want to know what's our average sale price so that we know what our average commission is. And then how many deals do I need to do in order for my average commission to equate to the annual income that I need to make? Well, right now, how am I doing with my goal? Well, I'm behind. Okay, well, it's June. So every month we have what's called 15th protocol. And if you guys haven't heard that, it's because it's an old KW term that we kind of don't use anymore, but it's still very much alive. 15th protocol says this: I break my goal down per month. If it's the 15th of the month and I'm not on track to hit that month's goals, the only thing that goes on my calendar for the rest of the month is lead gen. So if I'm supposed to do 4 appointments a month, at the 15th, how many should I have accomplished? I should have 2 done because I'm halfway through the month, right? Well, if I don't have my 2 done, everything else wipes off on my calendar, and the only thing that matters is me setting those appointments. Well, we're halfway through the year. So if I'm not halfway to my goal financially, nothing else matters but generating leads. It doesn't matter how you do it. It could look like open houses. It could look like mailers. It could look like calling your database. It could look like texting your Facebook friends. Whatever lead gen looks like to you, though, I bet if you're not halfway to your financial goal, you haven't been doing an adequate number of lead gen. And we figured out how much lead gen we have to do during the business planning clinic. So what happens is, if my goal is I need to make $150,000 this year, great. I should be at $75,000 by the end of the month. Am I on track for that? Yes or no? Yeah, if yes, then go down this path. If no, then go down this path, which looks like everything else goes away and I'm only doing lead gen. Well, what happens is when you do that, you catch up really quickly. What are you doing, or how are you doing with your goal? How do you feel about where you're at? I feel like I'm not going to hit my goal, but it's okay. Is it? Is it actually okay? Why was it your goal in the first place? What were you going to do with those funds? If you're short $20,000, how's that going to impact what you're able to do? What will your future look like if you don't achieve your goal? You know what? If I don't achieve my goal this year, it's probably not going to impact my life very much. If I don't hit my goal next year, it's probably not going to impact my life very much. If I don't hit my goal every year for the next 10 years, my life looks completely different. Because things compound and things add up. 6 personal perspectives helps us to take stock of these things. Personal mastery, mastering yourself, is what this stuff all leads to. Having a realistic inventory of where I'm at and where I'm going based on the trajectory that I say that I desire. All right, any ahas from that? Any thoughts, any feedback, any smart remarks? Okay, I'm moving on. Self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you. When you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know what your goals are. I love the people that are like, hey, like they set a goal and then you're like, hey, how you doing on your goals? I'm not sure. What do you mean you're not sure? How many transactions have you closed? I'd have to look. You don't know where you're at? How much money's in your bank account? I don't know, about. That's kind of me with my bank account. How much money's in your bank account? Enough for today, not enough for the rest of my life, right? Like, well, but we need to know those things that are important to us. We know. It's funny. I could be like, I'm not exactly sure how much is in my bank account, but I can tell you every shot that Ryan and I both took Monday night at Golf League. Well, obviously we know where my focus and my priorities at, right? Like, hey, remember when you had that approach shot on 3 and you get like, it's a sickness, but it also shows where you're focused at, where your priorities are. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Where am I really strong at? I'm really strong at doing things that feel good. I'm not really strong on the things that take self-discipline. I'm really strong at talking to anyone. Put me anywhere, anything, any topic, I'm going to figure out a way to talk to people. Put me in an office and give me a to-do list with 14 things on it, and everything in me starts shutting down. I get sick. Why? Because that's a weakness for me. Like, if it takes intense focus, that's a weakness for me. So what do I need to do? I need to surround myself with people that's their strength. Instead of, you guys remember, like, I forget who it is. I know Tony Robbins does a thing on it. If I have something that's a 7, but I could easily make it a 9, wouldn't it be more beneficial for me to take that area of strength that's a 7 and make it a 9, as opposed to take the area of weakness that I'm like a 2 in and maybe get it to a 3 or a 4? Because what happens is it's a lot easier for me to take that 7 and turn myself into a 9 than it is for me to take the 2 and turn it into a 4. By the way, if I take that 2 and turn it into a 4, it's still an area of weakness. Why not be really proficient at my areas of strength and resource out my areas of weakness? Why do you think Tom and Carrie are so good together? Well, because he's strong where she's weak, she's strong where he's weak, right? I mean, Lonnie and Amber, they make all kinds of jokes about themselves all the time. And Lonnie will be like, hey, we've got this house coming up that we're getting ready to list, and it's 555 Main Street. And then you hear Amber yell in, like, it's not 555. It's like, he doesn't even know what the address is. Like, he doesn't even remember how to log into the MLS. But she does. And that's why they make an incredible team, right? I mean, Finn group, right? Very similar. Ryan, half the time, like, he'll talk to 100 people in the day. Stephanie doesn't want to do that. But Ryan doesn't know where they're at on half the transactions, but Stephanie knows every bit of every detail of every transaction. Why? Because they focus on their areas of strength and they outsource their area of weakness. Well, we can do that in a myriad of ways, but we have to know what they are in order to know where to get help. 3, know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses in order to reach your goals. Know how to work with them. You know what I do is I like to do things myself. I find myself even suggesting that with clients, like, oh, I'll take care of that for you. It's an electrical thing. I know, I'll take care of that. I'll save you $200. Guess what it cost me? $1,500. It saved them $200 and it cost me $1,500 because instead of doing the thing that I should be doing, I didn't do that. And I did this little thing over here for them and it took me half the day. And in that same amount of time, I could have made $1,500 by getting another client onboarded. But instead, I wanted to do something myself. Well, that was stupid. So know how to work with it. I can't be in charge of my own schedule. If I want to be at my peak efficiency, I can't be in charge of my own schedule. If Tom goes, hey, Thursday, I've got this thing at noon. Is there any way you can help me out with it? Guess what entrepreneurial Tim wants to do? I'll be there, Tom, 100%. Why? I love Tom. I'd do anything for Tom. And I like to feel helpful. That feels good for me when I'm able to be helpful. And guess what it's probably going to do? It's probably going to actually eat up like a better part of half of my day. And I'm going to let somebody else down over here because by saying yes to his thing, I didn't get to do something that I was supposed to do for somebody else. And I already had it on the schedule, but did I look at my schedule before I committed to Tom? Nope. That's knowing my areas of strength and weakness. So now what do I have to do? Hey, let me check the calendar and can I get back to you later today? Let me check my calendar. Can I get back to you later today? That had to become one of my script practices because I would go 100%. Yeah, you bet, Steve, I'll do it. Somebody says, hey, can you help me with the CMA later today? Can I send you the address? And you go, absolutely, just email it over to me. Well, later today, I'm packed, man. I'm on an inspection. Like, I'm not going to be able to look at the CMA. But I told somebody I would. And then what do? I either let this person down or I let that person down. Or I find somebody to do the CMA for me. And then I review it. Or instead of saying, yeah, send it to me, I go, I'd love to help with that. Let me check my schedule and see if I can. or send it to me and I'll let you know when I can get to it. Right? Like, it's knowing your areas of strength and weaknesses. And we're all students forever. We're never going to get there. It's a process. It's a journey. And yet every time we improve and get better, everything in our system gets better. Mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make one the master of a subject. You know what the habits thing for me is? When I started running, that you had to create a habit of running. And people would be like, oh, dude, I could never do that because I hate running. I would really fight with them. I don't know if anybody hates running more than I do. But I'm doing something that I don't like because I like the results that I get out of it. I like the results from it. I'm not the fittest at. In fact, if you go to a lot of the races, I'm like the least fit dude in my age group. However, comparatively, I'm in relatively good shape. Well, why? Because I'm doing something consecutively day in and day out that I hate doing, but I know that it's good for me. Well, I had to create the habit of it. And once I created the habit, it became automatic. Making calls in my database, oh, nobody hated it more than me. And I like talking to people. I don't like to talk to them on the phone, and I don't like to call people when I think they might be busy because I have a limiting belief because I don't like it when people call me, so I don't want to call people. So I have a limiting belief around that. And yet, when I created the habit of it and started doing it, guess what? It's no problem. And now I'm partnered with somebody who absolutely despises making phone calls, and she has the most unbelievable database ever. And I'm like, well, then give me all your people's name, and I'm going to call them and tell them I'm your personal assistant, and I'm going to connect them with you because she needs to be calling all the people in her database. But she's like, maybe she does the same thing I used to do. Like, maybe they're at work. Maybe they got the baby over. Maybe they're sitting there ready, like just waiting to see who's going to call them today because they want to talk to somebody so bad. You ever been lonely and just like wondered if any of your friends even remembered you anymore and just hoped your phone rang and that somebody was just like, hey, I was just thinking about you today. And even if you don't, Tom doesn't because he's the star of attention. Even if you don't, when someone does that to you, doesn't it make you feel good? Yes, it does. And so I would be like, don't think, dial right now, just hit call. And then she hits call and then she freaks out for a second and they go, hey, Debbie, how's it going? And then like now the conversation's going. They were excited to hear from her, but she had a limiting belief around it. She also picked up a $4 million listing in Lake Winnebago by doing that. A $4 million listing. Now, will it sell? I don't know. But it's worth every penny of it. Why? By calling your database. Because people have properties to sell. It just depends on the database, right? Like maybe it's not a $4 million, maybe it's a $150,000 house. I'll take those too. They sell a lot easier. They sell a lot faster and with a lot less advertising expense. But it's a journey. It's not an event. It's us constantly getting better. It's us evolving and changing and growing. I'm not the same agent I was last year. I'm not the same agent I was 5 years ago. My priorities have changed. The things that I need have changed. Those things matter. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. If you have not read that book, it's a highly recommended KW book. It's why some people succeed and why some people don't. If you can understand that, you can be a success. If you can understand your strengths and weaknesses, you can be a success. You know what I can do? I've learned this. I can have zero systems in my life, and I can be entrepreneurial, and I can just respond to the things around me, and I can always make about $90,000 to $110,000 a year. Just by showing up in the day, I'm going to have a conversation with somebody. It's either going to lead to a real estate transaction or it's going to lead to some electrical project. And so I can farm the electrical stuff out to my electrical people and that stays there. I can self-perform it. Whatever I need to do. I feel like if I just show up and act entrepreneurial, I'm never worried about making less than 90K. Well, guess what? 90K doesn't support my goals anymore. I have a daughter who's a senior in high school now. Like she's getting ready to go to college. Does she want to go to Longview Community College? Which there's nothing wrong with, by the way. But no, she does not want to go there. I tried to get her to go to Avila because they have an incredible volleyball program and an incredible nursing program. Does she want to go there? No, of course not. Where does she want to go? She wants to go to a big D1 school that costs $1 bajillion a year. Well, that takes money, right? So now I don't know that that's where we're going to end up, but what I'm seeing real quickly is, well, if she plays volleyball, then I'm going to want to go to the games. Well, none of the games are in Kansas City, not one of them, which means now time off and travel expense. But that's only going to happen for a few years out of my, like, what I'm seeing is like my entrepreneurial way doesn't cut it for me anymore. So now what can happen is I have a business partner who we split everything 50-50 on, and she pulls in a $4 million listing and she services that listing. And now it's like I have a $2 million listing, right? Because we're leveraging each other. And when I pull in 4 $500,000 listings, that's 2 million in volume. She has 1 million in volume from me doing the lead gen work. Well, we figured out a way to leverage our strengths and weaknesses to where we both pull in a solid income, and there's leverage there so that I can travel her so that she can go do what she wants to do. And hopefully we grow that and it's even bigger. We're learning how to utilize our strengths and weaknesses. And I know that I can be a certain level of success, but I can't be the level of success that I want to be without bringing in systems and models. It just doesn't happen for me because I can only run so hard. And without leverage, you can only do so much. There's only 24 hours in the day. But I can spend 24 hours in a day and I can make $50,000 a year. And Richard Branson has 24 hours in a day and he can make billions. Why? Because he's got systems and what? Richard Branson? Virgin Records, Virgin Airways, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Rail, Virgin Voyages. You've never heard of him? Oh, you would want, he's been on Friends. He's been on TV shows. Okay, if you have never read his book, okay, you need to read, it's the story of Richard Branson, and it's called Losing My Virginity, and it's not what you would think. It is one of my favorite books of all time because Richard Branson has figured, he owns this private island in the middle of the Caribbean that's unbelievable. It's called Nectar Island, and it's a totally self-sustaining, eco-friendly island. Like, he's proved that, like, we can live off the grid, we can have food, it's unbelievable. But he talks about, he literally started writing a paper in college that led him to Virgin Records, which grew huge. Virgin Records is a global brand. And then everything that he does, he basically takes the same business model and just applies it to whatever his new business is. And what happens is he can't run Virgin Rail, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Voyages. He can't run all of that stuff. So he brought in the best of the best and taught him his business system, and then they run his businesses for him. And he spends most of his time on Nectar Island entertaining A-listers and celebrities and investors and playing tennis. And it's just unbelievable what he has built because he's an outlier. He figured out how to systematize his way of thinking. Okay, so committing to self-mastery, putting the pieces together to achieve it. How do we do it? Let's watch this quick video. Watch it work because Lacey set it up, so it's going to work awesome.
My name is John Clay. I've been with Keller Williams since 2011. Been a realtor for 23 years. I'm here to speak about committing to self-mastery. You know, when you think about self-mastery, it's one of those things that, you know, reminds me of watching basketball. And, you know, you see these professional players and they shoot 3-pointers like it's nothing. And you think, oh, that's easy. But when you figure out behind the scenes, they're practicing shooting thousands of shots every day, even on weekends. And then you start to figure, you know, you do that every day, every month, every year, and you continue to do it. And you start saying, wow, why are they so good? Well, they're good because they practice and they continue to have habits around it. And they eventually master it. And I think about Steph Curry, that he's shot so many 3-pointers that it would take someone almost 7 years to catch up to the amount of 3-pointers he shot over his course of his career. So that's, to me, that's really self-mastery. That brings me to my story. I was a New Jersey State Trooper for 17 years. A dual career realtor as well. We did both at the same time for a lot of years. And I always struggled hiring admins. And I was like, why am I continuing to struggle? And I would get a resume and look at it and say, I got a gut. I think they're going to be good. And over I kept failing at hiring an admin. And when I came to Keller Williams, they had this process called, well, at the time, Recruit Select, which I never really got into that much. But then when career visioning came, I started to really kind of like get into it, teach it, understand it, and I was able to participate in train the trainer for career visioning. So I was going to be one of the facilitators for career visioning. So it kind of forced me to kind of get into career visioning and to learn what it was about. And I really got attracted to the systematic approach to hiring because I never did it before. I was just hiring by resumes and gut. And as I started to teach it, I started to learn it more. And then I actually went and watched other people present it. And I was like, wow, if I really can nail this, I could probably really get good at making hires. And then if you listen to what Gary says, your first 5 hires, how important they are to the success of your organization. And then, who you get in business with matters. So if I can nail this, I really can have a big life. So I started to really study it, practice it, and from administrative hires to regional directors now that I've been hiring, I've been able to really, I would say, master it by continually practicing it, doing it by myself, doing it with friends, doing it with my wife. And eventually it got to the point where I didn't need to even look at the manual. I was just doing it from being able to, because I practiced it so much. So if you think about your career, what is it that you can do that actually allows you to be really good at what you do, whether it be lead gen, whether it be networking, what strengths help you and what weaknesses kind of hold you back from being really good at it? Because I know for me, my weaknesses was I thought I can just hire with my gut. And that really wasn't the case, right? I needed a systematic approach to actually make the hire. So being consistent and learning how to do career visioning for me really allowed me to be really successful in my business. So here's what I would suggest for you, my recommendation if you want to really get good at self-mastery, right? Think about your strengths, think about your weaknesses. What is it that you do really well? Where is it that you maybe fall a little short? And maybe just start to really practice it, have accountability around it. You're already taking the first step. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing you on your path to self-mastery.
Thanks, John. Remember, John, did you go to the ALC retreat like 2 years ago? He led it. Remember that at the hotel, like the one up north? He was the one who led that retreat. Okay, exercise. Achieve goals through self-mastery. List 3 obstacles you think might hinder your achievement of the goals that you wrote down. You should have wrote down 3. Remember, there was 3 goals, or 3 things that you want to accomplish. What is an obstacle that you might consider a possibility of hindering achievement? And then consult and discuss with your partner, which typically we would partner up 2 and 2, but it's a smaller group, so we can just share them out. And then share what strengths you feel you have that will help you overcome each obstacle. What are some of those obstacles? For me, it's time management. Time management is one of my big ones. Because even coming in here, sometimes just coming into the office is a hindrance for me. Why? Because everybody in here I like. And so then I'm like, hey, how's it going, Steve? What's going on? Like before I know it, I burn up an hour just chit-chatting with everybody about nothing.
I think you and I are a lot alike. I'd rather go out, like, I'll tell Carrie I'll be sitting on my desk and I'll be working. I'm going to go check on the range listing real quick, right? I just want to do anything but sit there kind of freaking on.
Right.
And
yes.
Yeah. And that's, yeah. And, yeah, on my comps, it's always been, just that, I don't know, I'm not afraid of working hard, but I'm afraid of being, I spend a lot of my life being overwhelmed and super busy and working 50+ hours a week and I don't ever want to do that again. Right?
Yeah.
Or do I? Maybe I just didn't want to do what I was doing.
You just didn't want to do what the tasks were.
What the task was then. Maybe I do now. And that's pretty much my obstacle all the time, is a limiting belief that, that in order to get what I want, I'm going to have to work harder than I want to work.
That's
at 63 years old, life looks a little bit different than somebody at 33 years old.
100%.
Right? So,
yep, absolutely.
What does that, want to look like? Yeah. But the reality is, I'm further away from where I need to be than I want to admit.
Okay.
To have the life that I want.
Okay.
Because that bar keeps moving.
Sure.
Right. So that $1 million in retirement that you set a goal of when you're 50 years old is not enough when you're 63.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's
Yeah. That's good.
yeah.
Anybody else want to share? What's an obstacle?
A lot of it is that time management.
Time management.
Kids.
Oh gosh, yes, right?
So that takes out even more time.
Mm-hmm. It does. And there's an opportunity cost there, right? Especially with kids. Like I deal with that too. Like Andy, she's 13. Well, I've already seen, and I know like some of you guys have older kids, like I've already seen where like 2 days ago, Lydia, my 17-year-old, I literally went the whole day and never saw her because she had an early morning. She works at Dutch Bros in Belton. So she was at work before I even got out of bed. And then I worked late on showings and she had a volleyball open gym. And so I worked late. She got home. She was exhausted because she had been up since 4:45. So she was in bed. The whole day, I didn't see her. But I remember when I was 16, 17, like that was me. I'd go to school, then practice, and then go to work, and then come home. And my parents were in bed. Like, I know that's the reality, but I also know, okay, Andy's 13. I got 4 years until she's like that, right? At best. So like, what matters more than that? For like, I can make money in 5 years, but I can't have Andy in 5 years, right? So it's like it's weighing that out. Like, what's the most important thing? But the time management piece is really tough. Like, you have to make the call that you're going to be able to live with. Yeah, time management's very tough. What did you start to say, one? You're your biggest obstacle? How come?
Goal. Goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have a lifetime of like patterns of behavior to either change or embrace, or lessons like, well, I know it's going to turn out like this because that's how it's always turned out in the past, right? But that's not the truth. That's just what our brain, that's what we've connected. Okay. Yeah. So now she's just traveling the world, going to all the Buc-ee's, all of them. Before long, she's going to be the CEO of Buc-ee's because she knows more about them than anyone else. Okay. We'd miss you if you were gone. Yeah, these are all good things. I mean, just again, it's the knowing, right? Because if I know, and there's another class that I'll probably teach, maybe August, Laura. It sounds like I'm doing newsletters in July. In August, where we talk about the conscious disciplines. So there's unconscious incompetence, where I don't know what I don't know. So how can I do it well, right? And then there's conscious incompetence. Well, I know that I need to be doing it, but I don't know how to do it, right? So like a little kid, when they're first born, they don't even know that they need to brush their teeth. They don't know. They don't brush their teeth. They're incompetent with teeth brushing, and they're unconscious. They don't even know, like, that's not in their thought process, right? But then they start seeing dad and mom brushing their teeth and brother and sister. So they're incompetent at it. They don't know how to do it, but like they're aware of it now, right? So you go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. And then you move over to where like, I'm learning it now. I'm learning how to do it, but I'm not proficient at it, but now I'm starting to learn how to do it. Now, do you even have to think about brushing your teeth? Nope. I can be half asleep and grab my toothbrush and squirt a little toothpaste onto it, right? I could be half asleep and like I'm brushing my teeth and I get it all brushed and I know that I'm hitting all the sides and I've got like I've kind of got my system. I always start on the upper left. Like I just do it unconsciously now. Same with tying our shoes, right? So then what happens then, I actually get to what's called unconscious competence. I don't even have to think about it. I just squirt toothpaste on there and brush it. I just grab my shoe. I have on slip-ons today, so it doesn't matter. But I just grab my shoe, I put it on, and I just tie it. I don't even think about it. But there was a time that I had to like loop, swoop, poke it through. It was really a workout to tie my shoes, right?
Carrie mentioned a couple of months ago that I got my old tractor broke down, so I got a zero-turn riding lawnmower, and I'd never been on one before, right? There is a learning curve.
Absolutely.
Like everything, and you're trying not to hit the fence and the flagpole and the bush, and then you're bumping up against stuff, and then suddenly you're 10 times into it. I'm driving this thing and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm not even thinking about what
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Perfect example. These things, when we understand what our obstacles are, at first we didn't even know that we had them. I didn't even know that it was an obstacle. But as I start thinking consciously about it, now I identify that that's an obstacle. And now I can learn how to overcome it. I can put things in place to help me overcome it. All right, last slide. Here we go. And we're out. Last slide. Uh-oh, did I break it? All right, here we go. What weaknesses, and the 10 minutes, I'm just cutting you loose because we're at time. What weaknesses might hinder you from overcoming those obstacles? How can you conquer them? And then brainstorm. Are the obstacles movable? Is there something you can master that will help? I'm like Tom. I had a wonderful electrical job opportunity. Unbelievable. My wife wanted to kill me for not taking it. Guess what it was? Me behind a desk in a crappy office that just sucked the life out of me. And it was a 10-hour-a-day job. The compensation was really good. And also, they couldn't have paid me enough. Like I tried it for 1 week and I was like, I hate everything about it. Like, you might as well just put me in jail because it's the same exact thing. Well, why is that? Because I need to feel like I'm in control of my schedule. I need to feel that freedom. So is that something that's movable for me? Well, I'm 45 years old, and to this point, it's not. That just hasn't gone away. I would rather work 80 hours a week and have the flexibility to be able to get up from the desk and go do something that I want to do than to work 40 hours a week, but be chained to the desk all 40. That's not a movable obstacle for me. So what can I do that can help? I can change jobs. I can change careers, right? If I was stuck in that electrical job, that's an obstacle for me. Well, I did change careers. I'm here now and I can go to different houses and drive to different cities and eat lunch at different places. And well, that breathes life into me. I need that. What weaknesses might hinder us? Well, I don't want to live by a schedule. I'm tech unqualified, Steve. So I can't find my Google Calendar on my phone. That just doesn't work for me. Great. Have somebody manage it for you. Have somebody be your calendar manager. Maybe you have to call Lacey at the front desk and go, Lacey, can I do this thing at 2 o'clock on Thursday? And she pulls up your calendar and go, nope, you're doing this at 2 o'clock on Thursday. Whatever, right? There's things that we could do that can help us when we have those weaknesses. How can you conquer them? In KW, they're going to be a big champion of it, but I am too. Hire a coach. If you don't have a coach to help you identify those obstacles, or if you keep getting stuck trying to break through them, hire a coach. It'll be the best money you've ever spent. It's not even a spend, it's an investment. It'll be the best investment you've ever made. I've told you guys there's a couple times I've hired different coaches for different things. And when I was doing the triathlon training, like I thought I was a strong swimmer until they told me that I was going to swim 2 miles in open water. And then I was like, I'm going to drown. Like, I'm going to die. Well, you hire a swimming coach and they totally changed the way that I swam. And then I was like, I could swim forever like this. But that's not what I was doing before because I couldn't see myself. Anyway, thanks for showing up today, you guys. Great job. We're out of here. It's 11. It's actually a little past 11. So we got to get out. We got to get out of here. Next week, we're off. I don't know what's happening in here next Monday, but I'm not going to be here next Monday. What is it? But
about doing Jerry and I were going to do a class.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Network relationship building.
Okay, so there's a class, but it's not a 6 personal perspectives class. But we're going to be here on the 23rd and then the 30th to finish up 6 personal perspectives. So all are invited to come back. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for investing in yourself. See you. Bye. Thanks. All right, we out.
Good job, Tim.
Thanks. Thank you guys. Okay, how can I do what Lacey needs me to do and not break it? That's because it's summer. It's not an excuse, but
I was lucky though.